Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to talk about witch hazel. It's something that I get a lot of questions about. Is it useful? Is it good in acne products? Witch hazel is an astringent. It is derived from a shrub called Hamamelis virginiana. And it is extracted from the leaves, the twigs, and the bark of this shrub through an alcohol distillation. And that yields a clear liquid that is then put into cosmetic products, whether it be moisturizers, ointments, cleansers. And it's really popular as an astringent for degreasing the skin. Witch hazel distillate that is produced, that clear liquid, is really rich in antioxidants. In particular, it's rich in one type of antioxidant called tannins. Antioxidants have benefit to the skin in that they can scavenge free radicals that are generated from environmental stressors like pollution, smoking, and ultraviolet radiation. They can potentially scavenge some of those damaging free radicals that lead to skin aging and damage our skin DNA. Tannins in particular have some unique properties. They are vasoconstrictors, meaning the little blood vessels that course through your skin, when those become dilated, they become leaky, and that leads to redness, swelling, puffiness. And so using something that is vasoconstrictive will help to clamp down on those blood vessels and reduce those symptoms. So a lot of people like the idea of using the ingredient witch hazel for swelling on the skin, like from an acne bump or reduce redness, for example. And so there is some science behind that idea. It's also very drying, and it can help to degrease the skin. One of the main reasons, though, that it is so drying and works well to degrease the skin, meaning remove any surface sebum on the top layer of the skin, any oil. One of the reasons it's so good at that is because it is an alcohol distillate. It's about 12 to 14% alcohol. Most witch hazel toners are going to have a substantial alcohol component. Alcohol in skincare products is not something that is necessarily terrible, horrible, should always be avoided, but it can be pretty drying on your skin barrier. And so for people with acne, attempting to dry out the acne is actually one of the worst things that you can do, because when you dry out the top layer of the skin, the stratum corneum, then your skin barrier suffers. You lose water out of the skin, and that generates an inflammatory response that actually can worsen your acne and drive more sebum production through an influx of inflammatory mediators that occur due to increased dryness in the skin and loss of water, evaporative water losses from the skin. Also, tannins can be sensitizing, and when there's an ingredient present in a product that can be sensitizing, that means that it tickles your immune system and begs it to come in and generate an inflammatory response against either the sensitizing ingredient alone or the sensitizing ingredient plus other things in the product that on their own might not have been such a problem, but it makes you more likely to develop a problem to those ingredients. For example, fragrance is a common classic sensitizing ingredient that can make you can become allergic to, or it can make you more susceptible to allergy to other ingredients. It also has, to a certain extent, some fragrance compounds in it as well, specifically eugenol. Eugenol is present in natural and synthetic fragrance, and that can actually be sensitizing. So it's a potential source of fragrance. So if you'll recall back to my oily skincare routine, I showed you guys how I would recommend, if you want to use a witch hazel based toner or product astringent, how to go about using it in a skincare routine, essentially to degrease the skin first thing in the morning. Some people wake up with a lot of oil on the surface of their skin. They don't like that feeling, and they find that simply cleansing the skin doesn't quite cut through the grease. So if you'll recall back to that skincare routine, I shared with you guys that the way I think is best to at least try to use witch hazel is to simply use it as a degreasing agent first thing, and then wash it off and put on your moisturizer, rather than leaving it on your skin. Leaving it on your skin forms a film of those potentially irritating compounds, the tannins, and can ultimately ultimately cause you problems down the road. So that's one way to use it. And I always recommend choosing a witch hazel that is free of fragrance. And then look for ones that say alcohol free. But a lot of witch hazel toners you'll see are like 14% alcohol. That's actually pretty drying, so I don't recommend those. I think back in that video I recommended one by Dickinson's. Thayer's also makes one that is labeled unscented, so they don't add any additional fragrance to it. That is a good choice. But I don't recommend using witch hazel as a makeup remover. In effect, it's like using an alcohol swab to remove your makeup. First of all, it's not going to efficiently break up the film of cosmetics on the surface of your skin. Really, a better way to remove makeup is to use an oil-based cleanser to break that up. Rather than alcohol. Alcohols and products with a high burden of alcohols can actually make it harder for those products to come off and also dry out the top layer of your skin. So I don't think it's a very good makeup remover. Not only that, but if you put it on top of makeup, remember I told you the witch hazel has compounds in it, the tannins, which can be sensitizing. And so putting sensitizing tannins from the witch hazel on top of makeup, that can set up a situation of irritation around your pores and lead to acne-like breakouts through the combination of the irritating tannins along with the ingredients in makeup. I mean, makeup is not perfect. It has a lot of ingredients that can cause harm. It has, a lot of times it has mica and things like that, mica and bismuths to give it shine and shimmer and highlight. And when you pack that into the skin, it can be a little irritating, and then you layer on top of it witch hazel. Oh, you can really set your skin up for several problems. So I don't recommend using it that way. So check the description box. I'll put a link to my oily skin routine video that shows you how to use witch hazel in a skincare routine to minimize the risk of developing dryness, irritation, and increased sensitivity. Those tannins, while they are sensitizing, they absolutely can calm down redness and have some soothing anti-inflammatory properties. It's kind of paradoxical. They can be irritating and cause problems while simultaneously helping and being beneficial. A lot of people will put witch hazel on a bug bite, and I can see how that also would feel good. Bug bites get swollen, they get itchy because the blood vessels dilate and fluid and inflammatory mediators come in, and that's what triggers itch. It tickles the little nerves around that are in your skin in that area and leads to itch. And that itch, you have a compulsion to scratch, and then in scratching you can introduce bacteria into the bug bite and have a little bit of a skin infection potentially, and you also agitate the skin barrier. So I can see why people would enjoy putting a little witch hazel on, say, a mosquito bite on the lower legs. It can actually bring you some symptomatic relief. When it's formulated into products that are more on the moisturizing side, that way it can help to combat any irritation. And a product that is new to me, no, this is not sponsored, but I wanted to share it with you, is the ProCure Enriched Witch Hazel Gel with jojoba oil. You guys know I love ProCure's Rosacare for rosacea. I don't even have rosacea, and I use that product on my face at night. It's great. But they have this witch hazel gel, which is a gel moisturizer that also has jojoba oil in it. Jojoba oil, as you guys know from my jojoba oil video, is a great ingredient as well. Rich in antioxidants, can be a nice emollient. And I love it in moisturizing products. It's a pretty stable oil. It doesn't oxidize readily. So I've used this on my legs and I really enjoy it. So in those situations where you're looking for witch hazel to derive maybe some of those beneficial properties, I think using it in a moisturizer is a good way to go. It removes some of that added risk of the dryness and irritation that you get with using the toners, particularly those that contain more alcohol. This also has aloe leaf juice in it, which is largely water, but has some anti-inflammatory compounds as well. They did send this to me, but with no expectation of reviewing it. It was part of a giveaway that I did on my Instagram. But I've been using it and I really like it, so I wanted to share it with you guys. It doesn't have any added fragrance and it's just really nice. Yeah, it's a nice gel. It kind of feels like aloe vera gel, aloe vera jelly that you get. I really like this as a body moisturizer on the legs in particular because it doesn't leave a sticky, tacky sensation. So in short, witch hazel is an ingredient that is absolutely not essential in your skincare routine. It can definitely come with a bag of risks, sensitivity, irritation, and excessive dryness, particularly in the case of the alcohol-based toners, but it does offer some potential for benefits in terms of its ability to degrease the skin in the case of oiliness, as well as vasoconstrict and help reduce redness and be anti-inflammatory. Personally, I would advocate either using it in a alcohol-free toner that you use just to degrease the skin and then wash off, or use moisturizing products that contain witch hazel. And like I said, this product by ProCure I really enjoyed. Some dermatologists even tell their patients, particularly like their male patients, to put it on the skin after shaving to cut down on razor burn. I don't do that because of the risk potentially of sensitivity developing, but if you do use witch hazel that way, I recommend choosing a moisturizing product like this one by ProCure. I think would be a good choice because it removes that risk of the drying alcohols and is just a nice emollient, has a nice emolliency to it, and will help seal in transepidermal water loss and prevent excessive dryness. Comment below though if you use witch hazel or if you incorporated it after you saw my oily skincare routine. Did you use it that way, or are you using it in some other manner? I'd love to know, but I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.